So this is my final build number 2. Imagine this is your child's toy room. Just some normal toys sitting on a normal shelf. Put away nice and neat. But when you leave the room, do you ever wonder what happens? What's going on in there? I could have sworn I heard something. So that was a lot of work, very challenging to make, and I still didn't get what I really wanted to happen at the end. Is after the lights went on, I wanted to pause a second and have that little doll turn her head and look at you in the light, just once. And I couldn't quite figure out how to make it work. I'm going to keep working on it and see if I can, but I'm going to show you what's behind the scenes. So back here we have our breadboard, and each of the pieces, each of these wires on the breadboard is connected to a separate servo motor that controls each of these things. So one controls the turret on the tank. One, you can see I had to cut open the back of this doll, and one that actually controls her head. So I haven't been successful. I can get it to move, but I haven't been successful in getting it to move the way I want it to. She's standing on another servo here, so that controls that. There is a servo underneath this frog, and then a stick connected to this truck, so that moves that back and forth. And then there's another servo cut into a little hole inside of this dog for the tail to move. Those are all connected to the breadboard here, and to separate pins on the Arduino. And then on a separate mini breadboard, I have a photoresistor circuit set up, so that you can see on my code that when I have it at the top here, you can see my code. So that photoresistor is hooked up to the analog pin A0 there. These are all my servos, and I just named them after the pins that I put them in, and showed where they were attached to. This is my loop here, so if the analog value, this is reading the analog value here, and then I have an analog value threshold, which if you notice was at the top here. The threshold for this pin is 200. So then I have down here, if the threshold is under, where is that? Yeah, so I have analog value. If the analog value of that photoresistor is below the threshold of 200, then it's going to have the toys move 90 degrees to 0 degrees to 90 degrees back and forth. And it's only having the 4 motors move, so 1 here, 1 on her foot, 3 and 4 in the dog's tail, but not her head move. And then when you get down to the bottom, it has, you know, if that's what happens, and then else, so if it's above the threshold, if the lights come on, it's above the threshold for the photoresistor, it's going to have all of the toys move to 90 degrees and stop. Then I have a delay here, and what I had under here was then my servo number 5, which was the one connected to her head, right 90 degrees. And I have a delay in here of 1,000 milliseconds, so it would be a second, 1 second, and then it would turn, but it never worked, and I can't figure out why. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep trying it, and if I have an update, I will get back to you. But hope you enjoyed.